Monday, August 10th, language. So we have been talking about verbs. The first thing we learned about verbs are action. Something you can stand up and do. If you can stand up and do it, it's part of your verb. Then we learned that verbs can be on the verb list. And our verbs on the verb list, if we see them in a sentence, the only thing they can be is a verb. It will never be anything else in a sentence. If it is on a verb list, the only thing it ever can be is a verb list. Now our verb list was have, has, had, do, does, did, shall, will, should, would, may, might, must, can, could, and then and, is, are, was, were, be, being, been. My remote students, you can pause the video right now, and I need you to get out a clean sheet of paper, label it language quiz, name and date, and you will need to write your verb list from memory and place that straight into your work folder to come back to me on Friday. But everyone else, well now we will continue. So we talked about how our helping verb list, have, has, had, do, does, did, shall, will, should, would, may, might, must, can, could, that anytime they're in a sentence, most times there's going to be a word that they are helping. So that helping verb and the word that it's helping, which is going to be an action verb, most times, sometimes it can be another, it can be a state of being verb. But the word that it's helping is called the verb phrase. So you have to be sure, if you find a helping verb in a sentence, that you make sure there's not a word in there that it is helping. 99.9% of the time, there's got to be a word it's helping. Every once in a while, it can be all alone. But most times, there has to be a word that it is helping. So you have to be sure that you look for verb phrases and underline them. So let's go ahead and look at page 14. Get your books out. You can pause the video if you need to while you get it out. And we are going to draw 2 lines under the verbs in the following sentences. We're going to circle the helping verbs if the verb is a verb phrase. Okay? So we're on page 14, think A. Number 1, the sentence says, do these plants actually eat insects? So we definitely have a verb phrase there because I see a helping verb in that list. Have, has, had, do, does, did. Do these plants actually eat insects? So if there's a helping verb there, we have to think, oh gosh, there's probably an action verb or another, or a state of being verb that it's helping. So look in the sentence and see, is there another word from a verb list in this sentence? Or is there something that I can stand up and do? There's something you definitely can stand up and do. Some of y'all do it lots of times during the day. Some of y'all maybe just 2 to 3 times during the day. 3 to 4 times maybe. Do, eat is our verb phrase. So you will put 2 lines under do, 2 lines under eat, and then it says to circle the helping verb. So circle the word do. Okay? Number 2, the Venus flytrap opens on a hinge like a clamshell. Well, I don't see any words in there that's on our verb list, but I do see something I can stand up and do. Open. So open is our action verb. Underline it twice. A fly will often rest on the top, let me start this all over. A fly will actually rest on the leaf of the fly trap. Okay, so I do see a word that's on our verb list in there. It's on our helping verb list. You find it? Will. Will is our verb. And then there's something that we can stand up and do. Most of us really honestly sit down to do this though. What is it? Rest. Will. Rest is our verb phrase. Have both words underlined. And will is our helping verb. Circle it. Number 4. Then the Venus flytrap will quickly clamp down and digest the fly. Okay, so I definitely see a word from our verb list on there. What is it? Will, very good. And the Venus flytrap will clamp. We can stand up and clamp down on something. But then I see a connecting word. And. Clamp and digest. So our verb phrase is will, clamp, digest. Those 3 words should be underlined 2 times. And our helping verb that we're circling is will. Good job. Some insects are attracted by the honey-like odor of the pitcher plant. So our verb phrase is, two words are right together. A word that's on our state of being verb list and an action verb. Are attracted. Good job. Underline them twice. And here our state of being verb are is being used as a helping verb. So circle are. They crawl into the pitcher plant and cannot get out. All right, so I definitely see, let's look at this word. Look at the word cannot. Now that is a compound word, okay? Let's say our state of being verb. And is our list verb. No, so let's say our helping verb list, I'm sorry. Have, has, had, do, does, did, shall, will, should, would, may, might, must, can, could. Now notice on can, I did not underline not. Not can never, ever, 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 ever be a verb. It will never be a verb. It is always something else that we will learn later. So even if you have the word can't, because you know can't is the contraction for cannot. Even for that, you have to be sure that you only underline the can part. And I will say it again. Not can never, ever, 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 ever be part of a verb phrase. Say that over and over and over in your head. Get that saved in your head because that'll save you a lot of thinking time later on, okay? All right, so that is our helping verb that I see in there. You can go ahead and circle your can as well. And be sure as well you're only circling can. Excuse me. So they can what? Or let's say it like this. What are two things in there that they can do? Crawl and is our connecting word, can get. That's kind of a tricky sentence because they threw the helping verb down there in the second part of the compound verb. Y'all see that? So crawl, we can stand up and crawl, underline it twice. Can is a helping verb, underline it twice, and we can stand up and get. Okay, so crawl, can, get is our verb phrase in that sentence. All three words should be underlined twice, and can should be circled as our helping verb. The sundew plant has sticky dewdrops. I see a word in there that's on our verb list. Has, very good, underline it twice. But I don't see anything else that we can stand up and do. So in this sentence, the helping verb is just there, has, okay? Number 8, tentacles go around the insect and keep it on the plant. So we have two action verbs in here. I can stand up and I can go, and I can stand up and I can keep. So go and keep are both our verbs. Underline them twice. Number 9, the juices in the tentacles will slowly digest the insect. So there's a word in there that's on our verb list. What is it? Will. Underline it twice. And then what is something you can stand up and do? We've already used this verb in a sentence on Upways. Digest. Will digest is our verb phrase. Underline it twice. Circle will because that is your helping verb. Can you see God's design in these special plants? So there is a word that's on our verb list. We've already talked about it. Can. Underline can twice, and there's something you can stand up and do. Can see. See is our action verb. So underline it twice as well and circle can because that is your helping verb. All right. I want to make sure you understand the difference. In the sentence, Dustin hit the ball. Let's see, how do I have it? Hit the ball and ran to first base. Our verb in this sentence is hit and ran. This is a compound verb, okay? Compound verbs are joined by a connecting and ran. It's a compound verb. But a verb phrase is not connected with a verb phrase. A verb phrase is not connected with a connecting word. Destin could have ran to second base. Now we have more than one verb in the sentence. It is could have ran. But is there a connecting word? Are the verbs connected with the word and? Hit and ran. No, it's just could have ran. So in this sentence, it is a verb phrase. I wanted to make sure you understood the difference between a compound verb and a verb phrase, okay? If you don't, then we can talk about that more. But I think with that explanation, you should. Compound verbs have an and in between, hit and ran. Could have ran is a verb phrase because there is no joining word, there's no compound, or there's no conjunction there. All right, look at think B. It says, draw 2 lines under the verbs in the following sentences. Think of a more informative verb to use in the same sentence. Write it in the blank. You may use a dictionary or thesaurus, or most of us just use Google these days. Kim sat in the big, easy chair. So what is our verb in that sentence? Sat. So underline it, sat. And then you're going to think of a word that could mean about the same as sat. Like maybe Kim relaxed in the big chair, or Kim lounged in the big chair, or Kim rested in the big chair. So these are all words that you could use. So you could choose any one of those words and write it on the line. You're just picking another word to write on the line in place of the verb. A word that kind of is a little bit more descriptive than just sat. Okay? So you're going to do the same for the numbers 1 through 10. You're going to do that on your own. And then look at page 15. On 15 it says, underline the verb 2 times in the following sentences. Look carefully for compound verbs and verb phrases. So what I suggest is if you come to a sentence and you see a verb phrase, I would highlight that. I'm sorry, not a verb phrase. I'm sorry, guys. You come to a sentence and you see a connecting word, and I would highlight that and I would see what that and is connecting. And if you see a verb on one side of the and, check and see if it's not connecting a verb on the other side of the and to it, okay? So you're going to do page 15 on your own, and I will need for you, remote students, to tear out. No, I'm not going to say that. We're good. All right, so go ahead and complete pages 14 and 15. Do your best. Have your thinkers on, and you guys will do fine, okay?